So, good afternoon, Mr. Kopečný. It's a pleasure to have you here, and we're recording right now in terms of our program of the Horizon European Research Program. My name is Anastasia Vlasenko, and on behalf of Generation for Ukraine, we're recording this video, and our main topic will be regarding the hybrid wars and disinformation. So, if we may start, if you can introduce shortly yourself and maybe the position that you're carrying right now, and shortly about yourself.
Sure. First, thank you for being here in my office. It's a privilege to have the youth, the bright youth, and the potential of the future of Ukraine so much interested in what we can do about joint cooperation and joint future between Czechia and Ukraine. My name is Tomáš Kopečný. I'm the government envoy for Ukraine in Czechia. Before I was Deputy Minister of Defense, I spent 10 years at the Ministry of Defense. I have been responsible for arming Ukraine ever since 2015, which is when I started to go there with military delegations, with defense industrial delegations. And it gave me great pleasure that Czechia have become the second biggest exporter from the EU to Ukraine after Poland before the full-scale aggression.
Yeah.
And it also made I would say, logical bridge for us also to become one of the biggest supporters of Ukraine when it comes to military deliveries. Mm-hmm. I was responsible for launching several of these initiatives. In the first hours, basically, or days of the aggression, I launched with the Ukrainian ambassador in Czechia a crowdfunding campaign. Mm-hmm. And basically within 3 months we gathered 40 million euro, for which we had constantly bought different sorts of material, MLRS, tanks, but already in day 3 we were sending 2,000 RPGs. So it's like, say, good memories that we were able to not only commit politically mm-hmm. and symbolically, mm-hmm. but also practically. Then by the end of 22, our Prime Minister has thought that we should be coordinating the Ukrainian agenda more broadly, so he has offered, or the government has offered and agreed with me being appointed the government's envoy, coordinating mm-hmm. not only the military stuff but also all the civilian stuff. I was also behind the initiative of cooperating with other partners internationally. First the Netherlands, then Denmark, then 15 other countries under an initiative that is now known as the Czech Ammunition Initiative. Mm-hmm. And ever since the beginning of 23, besides continuing in supporting our defense industrial cooperation, I started also to work on the civilian reconstruction agenda, which mm-hmm. is in the phase of, say, fast and small, because we only do small-scale projects, but mm-hmm. especially in small-scale generation in terms of energy, in hospitals, in health, and in water treatment. We have already delivered some, I would say, nice successes. We are now renovating 16 hospitals all over Ukraine. We have delivered water treatment plants securing water for almost 500,000 people in Dnipropetrovщina. When it comes to energy, we have become one of the biggest suppliers to Kharkivщina and Kharkiv city itself. Mm-hmm. So I'm quite happy about what we do when it comes to supporting Ukraine and being in Ukraine. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I would say that's truly impressive. And on behalf of all Ukrainians, we're truly grateful for every work that Czech Republic is supplying and doing, and particularly for the work you do, because it's really important right now in the moment of crisis, in terms of war. As we know that Czech Republic was first country that opened their own office in eastern part of Ukraine. And coming back to the topic, how you maybe say something regarding right now, we have right now the time of elections, pre-election times. And what about the information situation right now, environment in Czech Republic, and how it is affecting your work on the reconstruction of Ukraine? And in general, how you would describe that?
The biggest impact is in the number of questions I get about elections, but practically not.
We'll ask you as well.
I mean, I get this like twice a day. So what's gonna happen when the ANO movement with Andrej Babiš as the potential prime minister will take power? I am not that skeptical that it will be the end of the very bright and great cooperation that we have started. Mm-hmm. Because for me personally, it has always been about a single aspect of three of the most important pillars of the reasons why we do what we do. And that was the normative aspect, as I call it. This is the right thing to do, and we just want to, we should, and I want to help my Ukrainian friends, brothers and sisters in the fight against Russia as much as I can. So that's what I have been doing. But also I understand that not all people in Europe or even in this country do consider this enough. So there are two other reasons why we do that. First is security-wise. Yes, we do understand that Ukraine is not only buying us time, which is a cliche, but Ukraine is the only thing that's stopping Russia from becoming bolder and potentially also attacking one of the NATO countries and directly us.
Yeah.
And third, economics. You know, with every development assistance, which is precisely what's happening when it comes to reconstruction of Ukraine, it has to make a sustainable sense. It can't be charity. It can't be just giving away and building something for grants, for donations. It always has to be based on loans. It's how Europe was rebuilt after the Second World War. The Marshall Plan was all about, or mostly about, loans. Favorable loans, better than the conditions that normal commercial banks give you when you ask for whatever, the reconstruction of a hospital or water treatment plant. But it needs to be sustainable this way, all over the world, and Ukraine is no different. You know, everywhere, even in this country. You know, if it's a donation, it doesn't work. All these, you know, like cheap money, free money from the EU. It didn't make such a great economic impact in this country as it could have, because it was not stimulated by, you know, the, say, business principle of seeing your own profit and making the project sustainable. So that's why I believe that the third pillar is not equally but crucially important, that it should be economically beneficial for both Czechia but also Ukraine, that we do things together. And I believe that every citizen in this country, and that's my hope, always is looking at his wallet first. And when I can say honestly and truthfully that, for instance, when it comes to Ukrainian immigration to Czechia, that every single month we get 40 million euro to the state budget just because of the presence of the 500,000 people that are here, I mean, you can't argue with that. It's just, it's a fact. So you want to get your country richer or not? And that's easy. Like, of course, even those people who do not want to support Ukraine or Ukrainians because of their good heart, I mean, this is about their wallets. So I believe this is first about the Ukrainian immigration here, but also about the Czech projects there or European projects there. It has to make sense economically, and then nobody can say anything about it.
And you know, that's really interesting, because in your past interviews, probably a year ago, you were mentioning that the greatest Russian success, it was the psychological warfare. That when Western leaders were believing that Ukraine not gonna be strong enough, you know, to keep longer, like, you know, to defend their own territory longer enough. So they were postponing the delivery of weapon and equipment and so on. And how you see the dynamic of the situation right now on the battlefield with the coalition of willing, you know, with all of this dynamic situation, how you see the environment right now?
It was true that back in 22, when Russia attacked Ukraine full scale, few Western leaders believed that Ukraine would survive. If they had, or if they thought that it's still better a solution to start delivering the needed weapons, of course, no ifs in this world. But the situation would have been so much different if not only Czechia and Poland would have been delivering dozens of tanks as we did, and Poles, and LMRs, and all these things. It would have been different. No crying over spoiled milk though, so now I see that the resolve to not only, say, survive a short-term period, but be in this with Ukraine long-term is extremely strong. And it's extremely strong in a bipartisan way in many of the most important countries in Europe. So, yeah, of course, in Germany it's not so bipartisan as could be, but basically, yes, I mean, you have a bipartisan coalition government now that is behind Ukraine. And now with Friedrich Merz as chancellor, it's a really, really the strongest supporter one can have.
Yeah, that's true.
From the whole world. Now, when it comes to Denmark, Netherlands, other countries like this, the Baltic countries, of course, are small countries, small economies, but they are strongly involved in. But strong economies such as Finland, Sweden, Norway, and I mentioned their market. It's very important. So I'm quite optimistic that this will lead to the true coalition of the willing, not declaring things in nice golden chateaus and castles, which is also important symbolically in terms of deterrence. But as also I have been saying for a longer time, deterrence only works when it's believable and believed. Once you say, "Oh, I'm gonna send troops if you don't withdraw," and then you do nothing, it makes no sense and nobody believes it. So any deterrence needs to be believable and believed in.
Absolutely.
And that's what I believe that the I would say Central, Northern, Eastern Europe approach to supporting Ukrainian armed forces as much as possible is the only way forward. Coalition of the willing, in one sentence, great, definitely, but the numbers that all the European countries combined can provide, even after ceasefire, which is long way ahead of us, is not a significant deterrence in any form. If we're talking about 60,000, 120,000, is it going to make a change against a 1 million-man army? No. Is it going to be a revolutionary contribution to the almost 1 million-man army of Ukraine? No. It will have its role in training, in passing on information and capabilities that are not currently within ZSU. But it's important just to understand that this will not save Ukraine. This will be a nice sweetener behind the main wall that has been stopping and will stop Russian intentions, which is wiping out Ukrainian state and Ukrainian nation, and that's ZSU. So our biggest role as Europeans really has been and is supporting the Ukrainian military and Ukrainian state to be as strong as possible by deliveries of the latest technologies, by deliveries of finances for getting those, and sharing those technologies through transfers, such as several Czech companies do, others do, but also absorbing the latest tech from Ukraine, because there is no more experienced army in Europe, in the Western Hemisphere, than Ukraine. There is no better equipped and better testing military than ZSU. So it makes only sense to continue in this. So in my opinion, Coalition of the Willing is about, supporting ZSU.
Yeah, and I would say that European leaders are playing a key role in that, specifically Czech Republic in, educating the soldiers, supplying the help. It's crucial right now. And coming back to the topic, and if we'll maybe measure that in Central Europe, because right now the dynamic with pre-election campaign that we see right now, the dynamic of people assume that the dynamic will change, in terms of supporting Ukraine in the future, because even during the campaign we see a lot of media campaign that are against supporting people here or people abroad. Why we have to do that? Why we have to support Ukrainian people here in Czech Republic? Why we have to support Ukraine in general? For them it feels so far away from the campaign that they are and messages that they are launching. What do you think about that? And if the dynamic will change?
I guess in terms of the media image, things can change. Because, not to sound demeaning in any sense, but it's in the nature of media reportages to go on the surface, to attract clickbaits, to make sense economically. So it's the words that matter the most for the media. It's not the deeds, it's not the action. It's not the number of weapons that come from Slovakia to Ukraine that interest anyone. It's not the number of development assistance project that is run from the office of the Prime Minister of Slovakia in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about it. It's about what he says, what he does as leader of his country. That's stirring so much tension. And of course, stirring tension, especially within the European Union. We have a common approach to some things and it just goes completely opposite. So whatever it will be under the surface of the, say, media coverage will also matter. And I understand it will be not reported much. But for people who will be receiving the assistance, it doesn't have to be such a big change. When it comes, for instance, to the reconstruction of Ukraine, to the involvement of Czech companies to be part of the reconstruction, to really deliver something that is useful. It's all about financial instruments. Of course, you do have one role, which of say the government, which is to not promote but prepare the ground for say a friendly welcome. And I believe that Czech entrepreneurs and NGO workers don't need that, because any company that goes to Ukraine is always welcome, with an open heart and with so many words of thank you that most people from Czechia are actually embarrassed because the Ukrainians are thanking us too much, I believe. Most people think that. But what I believe is that many of these things will continue. I don't think we will see a sharp drop in terms of our projects that we will be doing there. I definitely think that we will not be staying in, say, the main position, should there be a change of government, in the main position of one of the leaders of, say, organization of something as important as the ammunition initiative. It always has two sides. So yes, something might look nastier than now, and it will sadden many people. But at the same time, and I repeat that as a government's envoy, it's not about the government. And yes, parts of it definitely yes, like delivery of military material. But then you have so many things, so many initiatives that run from the people in this country. Like half of the 500,000 people that were accommodated within the first 8 weeks were housed within private homes of Czech citizens, and that's saying something, and like more money on humanitarian assistance has been fundraised from the Czech people than was given by the Czech government.
Yeah, that's true.
Several times more.
And it's truly inspiring, for us, as for Ukrainians who is living here. But, I'm still curious. Is it this disinformation media campaign somehow affecting your work particularly? Somehow in a negative way, showing in the bad light, let's say, the campaign that you are supporting Ukraine, you are delivering help as a government envoy?
No, I can only think about, yes, foreign governments sometimes call me and ask, oh, so does it mean we should not send you money anymore for the ammunition initiative? And I'm saying, we're still running this project. When it's over, we're going to tell you, of course. So it's going to be up to the next government. Do you want foreign governments to spend billions of euro in this country? Yes or no? It's easy. Then this is how it's affecting my job, that I get these questions and I answer them truthfully. No, I can't think of anything that's affecting my work. I'm now working with the European Commission on finalizing the projects and programs we have succeeded with when it comes to Ukraine facilities. So we basically got 200 million euro for projects of guarantees. That means more favorable loan conditions in Ukraine, and also grants for hospitals. So I have quite a busy agenda, and I don't have time for, say, the foam of the day of political speculations. I don't really care.
And if we're gonna look into the future, how you see the future elections and maybe effect of it into supporting Ukraine in the future upcoming years, how it's gonna change or not, in your opinion?
I believe that at the end of the day, the economic reasoning will prevail. What is quite possible, and I would bet on it, that there will be less of this, say, normative support or emotional feeling or emotional reasoning behind the support. So that might change. So we might not hear so many, say, nice words from governmental representatives. We might, though, I don't know. But that's what I would bet on, that it would be, less like we're behind Ukraine because it's the right thing to do.
But in terms of collaboration and financial, collaboration between Ukrainian cities and Czech,
I think it will really grow. It will be bigger and bigger, and it's because we have learned how to use the only thing that matters. That's concrete financial instruments. I have gone to Ukraine, I believe, 16 times since the beginning of the full-scale invasion only. Most of the times I have been there with business delegations from defense, from energy, from water treatment, water management, health. Mental health is a big thing. For the past year, I'm focusing a lot on mental health. I'm leaving for Ukraine within a few days with a strong delegation of 12 people from the mental health sector. We're doing projects with 6 or 7 different institutions from Dnipro, Kyiv, Lviv, and the regions. So I believe that it will only grow because we have, it's about, sometimes development assistance is called seed money. That you start with a little project that you finance so that something bigger grows out of it. And this is precisely what we have been doing. And I believe that we will see many of the outsprings of the seeds we put in the soil of the Czech-Ukraine cooperation, be it grain or trees or industrial products.
And do you think that there are specific defense industries that will be more developed in terms of the collaboration between Czechia and Ukraine into the coming year?
I think that more and more we will see the collaboration in the UAV industry. I mean, when I was with President Pavel at the Ukraine Recovery Conference in Rome this year, President Zelensky spoke about one single topic, one single sector. That was UAVs.
Yeah.
It was not about energy. It was not about water. It was about UAVs. Interesting. So I believe this is something that we will see a lot of development.
And as we're gonna conclude and coming to the final message, what would you say to young people, Ukrainian young people who is living here in Czech Republic, and maybe some message that they have to, to share between their own, diaspora here inside of Czech Republic? And if you can say that to the camera here and to people who is watching us. So.
Sure. I mean, I'm so glad that so many of you have chosen Czechia as your second home. It just gives me so much pride and honor. And I'm not the only one, as you can see probably all around yourself, It's visible everywhere. You still see in the 4th year of the terrible orcish aggression against your beautiful country that you have Ukrainian flags all over Prague and many other cities. And of course, you see also some negative stuff, some people reacting badly, and you'll hear much more about it in the media, about the bad stuff than about the good stuff. But I'm just so glad that, this is working out so well, on the macro levels, but within the individual stories that all of you have. It's surprising me so much, and it's moving me every time I hear about, a sad story, a tough story, but also about a very successful story. So many bright young people that have decided to come here. I mean, you could have gone to Germany, to Western Europe. When I was your age or in my 20s, I would probably not be going, to my country. I studied in Canada because of that. I went more westwards, and you chosen this country, and it has to have some reason. So I'm really glad that this is happening, and I was talking about all these things in the interview, like why is it beneficial for my country, and I just hope that it will be more and more beneficial to you personally as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Kopečný, and for the work you do, because it's truly empowering and it's truly valuable for everyone who is still here and people who's right now in Ukraine. And this message that we are spreading, because, especially in time of crisis, it's something truly valuable, and it's something that we have to do together as two countries and people, Ukrainian diaspora who is living in Czech Republic. So we are truly grateful, and thank you so much for participating in our interview, and thank you so much for your time.
Дуже дякую.